المرحلة الثانية. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Our lecture today is about the anatomy of kidneys, ureters, and the adrenal glands. First, the kidneys. From this figure, we can see that the kidneys are reddish-brown organs that are bean-shaped. It has a convex lateral side and a concave medial side. They are situated on both sides of the vertebral column. They are located on the posterior abdominal wall, high up on the posterior abdominal wall. They are regarded as retroperitoneal organ. It means that the peritoneum covering it anteriorly only, keeping it tethered to the posterior abdominal wall. They are under the cover of the costal margin, that the left kidney is covered by the 11th and 12th rib, while the right one is lower down than the left, is covered only partially by the 12th rib. And the kidneys located on the posterior abdominal wall muscle, so it can move down with respiration. About 1 inch, that is 2.5 centimeter, when we take a deep breath. What are the coverings of the kidneys? The kidneys are covered by 4 layers. The first one is the renal capsule, that's cover the kidney substance directly. Next, we have a layer of fatty tissue that is called perirenal or perinephric fat. Then we have a layer of renal fascia, and lastly we have a layer of pararenal or paranephric fat. All these layers, it will keep the kidney in position. These are the layers that is surrounding the kidney. This is a transverse section showing the kidney and the layers covering the kidney. The kidney covered by this is the renal capsule, the perirenal fat, renal fascia, and the pararenal fat. We can see that the renal fascia is continuous with the transversalis fascia of the anterolateral abdominal wall. The hilum of kidney. The hilum, it means this is the site of the entrance and exit of certain structure, the site of entrance of blood vessels and nerves, and the exit of lymphatics and the ureter is called the hilum. The hilum of both kidneys lies at the level of the transpyloric plane, that is at the level of L1, the first lumbar vertebra. The extent of both kidneys, it extends nearly from the T12, from the 12th thoracic vertebra, to the 3rd lumbar vertebra, that is L3. So the extent of the kidneys is from T12 to L3, while the hilum of both kidneys is nearly at the level of L1. The right kidney definitely is lower than the left kidney. Why? Because due to the presence of the liver. The hilum of the kidney, as we said before, the kidney in general have a convex lateral border and a concave medial border. From the concave medial border we have the entrance and exit of certain structure. This is the site of entrance and exit of this structure is called the hilum. The arrangement of structure in this hilum is from superficial to deep or from anterior to posterior is the renal vein, artery, the ureter, and another branch of renal artery. So the arrangement will be VAUA. Yeah, that is vein, artery, ureter, and artery. The renal arteries, which these are large branches from the aorta, it originates from the aorta at the level of the second lumbar vertebra, L2. It gives rich blood supply to the kidneys and it constitutes about 25% of the total cardiac output. What is the nerve supply of the kidney is from the renal sympathetic plexus. Renal sympathetic plexus. The afferent fiber that enter the spinal cord through this plexus, it will enter the spinal cord at the 10th, 11th, and 12th thoracic nerves. So the pain from the kidney will refer to these dermatome T10, 11, and 12. يعني معناها renal pain will refer from the back to the anterior abdominal wall on the distribution of the dermatome T10, 11, and T12. What are the relations of the kidneys? There is a difference in the relation between the right and left kidney. We can see from this transverse section that both kidneys, the right and the left one, is situated on both sides of the vertebral column. The right kidney lies behind the right lobe of the liver, and the left kidney lies behind the lesser sac, the stomach, and the spleen. This is the anterior relation of the kidney. We can see that the left kidney is related to the left suprarenal gland, to the duodenum, the descending part of the duodenum, and the right colic flexure, right lobe of the liver, and the coils of small intestine, while the left kidney is related to the left suprarenal gland, to the stomach, pancreas, spleen, left colic flexure, and coils of small intestine. This is the anterior relation after removal of the organs. Right kidney is related to the right suprarenal gland, related to the liver, related to the duodenum, second part, to the hepatic flexure, and to the small intestine, while the left one is related to the adrenal gland, left adrenal gland, related to the stomach, spleen, pancreas, the splenic flexure, and the coils of small intestine. Respectively, you can call the areas that is related to the nearby organs the suprarenal area, regarding the right kidney, suprarenal area, hepatic area to the liver, duodenal area, colic area, and the jejunal area, while the left one, suprarenal area, gastric area to the stomach, pancreatic area, splenic area, jejunal area, and colic area. All these relations are important when we want to do some operation on the kidneys. يعني هذه الريليشن لبقية الأورجانز بالنسبة للكدنيز هي مهمة أثناء إجراء العمليات على الرايت أو left kidney. Structures are either directly in contact with the kidneys or separated by visceral layers of peritoneum. لما يكون هذه الستركتشر أما حتكون in direct contact يعني بدون peritoneum راح يفصل بينه وبين بقية الأورجان، أو أكو layer of visceral peritoneum separate in between the kidney and the nearby organ. لذلك راح نشوف هنا أنه الليفر is separated from the right kidney by a visceral layer of peritoneum. كذلك السمول intestine، بينما الكولون والدودنم والرايت suprarenal gland is adherent directly to the kidney without intervention of visceral peritoneum. Left kidney, we have the stomach, and the small intestine is separated from the left kidney by a layer of visceral peritoneum، بينما left suprarenal والpancreas والcolon They are in direct contact with the left kidney without intervening visceral peritoneum. What are the posterior relations of the kidneys? Nearly they are similar, the right and left one. These are the posterior relation. It is the diaphragm, the costodiaphragmatic recess, the muscles that are forming the posterior abdominal wall, which is the psoas major, quadratus lumborum, and the origin of transversus abdominis muscle. ومن النيرفز اللي قاعد نشوفها هنا هو subcostal nerve, iliohypogastric nerve, and the ilioinguinal nerve. All these are posterior relation. This is a color diagram to the posterior relation. These are if we are looking to the kidney from posterior view, and this is a posterior view of the left kidney, and this is a posterior view of the right kidney, and the left kidney is related to the 11th and the 12th rib, and the diaphragm related to the muscle هي psoas major قلنا psoas major, quadratus lumborum, and the origin of transversus abdominis muscle. كذلك الرايت راح تكون related to the diaphragm and the 12th rib من المصل من psoas major, quadratus lumborum, and the transversus abdominis muscle. Here we can see also that the left kidney is related to the 11th and the 12th rib, while the right one is related to the 12th rib only. Relation of the right kidney posteriorly, you can see this is the costodiaphragmatic recess. Costodiaphragmatic recess, this is the 12th rib. And here in this sagittal section, we can see anteriorly the right kidney is related to the right lobe of the liver and the right colic flexure. Embryologically, the kidney originate from the pelvic area. Originate from the pelvic area, and it ascend up to its final destination in the lumbar region. So originally it is in the pelvis, then it ascends up until it reaches its final destination in the lumbar region on both sides of the vertebral column. So some of the congenital anomaly is the pelvic kidney. Or another anomaly is the horseshoe kidney. transplanted kidney. The transplanted kidney احنا اثناء عملية زرع الكلى راح نخلي نزرع الكلى بالبلفس, in the pelvis, and we connect its blood vessel to the internal iliac artery and vein. The ureters. The ureters are muscular tubes about 25 cm in length, extend from the kidney down to the ureter, and connect the kidney, pelvis of the kidney, which is a funnel shape, down to the urinary bladder. It's about 25 cm in length. It extends on the posterior abdominal wall retroperitoneally. It's covered by the peritoneum, and it reaches to the pelvic bone, where it crosses the bifurcation of the common iliac artery, where it becomes in the pelvis. Here we can see that the ureter abdominal part is crossed by the gonadal vessel. What is the posterior relation of the ureters is the psoas major separating the ureter from the transverse processes of the lumbar vertebrae. This is the psoas major muscle. Here we can see this is the ureter extending from the hilum, from the pelvis of the kidney down to the angle of the urinary bladder. Here we can see these are the ureters in the intravenous urography. These are the ureters, and they are related to the transverse processes of the lumbar vertebrae. What are the interior relation of the right ureter? First is the duodenum. This is the ureter. We can see this is the ureter. Anterior relation is the duodenum, the second part of the duodenum, terminal part of the ileum, the right colic and the ileocolic vessels, right testicular or ovarian vessels, the root of the mesentery also will pass anterior to the right ureter. So these are the anterior relation of the right ureter. The left ureter is related to the sigmoid colon. It is crossed by the sigmoid colon here, sigmoid mesocolon, left colic vessels, left testicular or ovarian vessel also will cross anterior to the left ureter. In this figure we can see this is the sigmoid colon and sigmoid mesocolon crossing in front of the ureter, and these are the left colic vessel also crossing in front of the left ureter. There are certain sites of the ureter where it undergo a constrictions، يعني هناك تضيقات باليوريتر. هاي التضيقات والتضيق الأول راح يكون at the pelvic ureteric junction, at the junction of the renal pelvis with the ureter. This is called pelvic ureteric junction. هذا راح يصير the first constriction. The second one is when the ureter cross the pelvic brim. Cross the bifurcation of the common iliac or cross the sacroiliac joint. This is a second site of constriction by the pelvic brim. Lastly, this is the third constriction of the ureter at its entrance into the wall of the urinary bladder. So these are the three sites of ureteric constriction: at the pelvic ureteric junction, at the pelvic brim, and at its entrance into the urinary bladder. The pelvic part of the ureter, when the ureter reaches to the region of the sacroiliac joint or the region of the bifurcation of the common iliac artery, it will pass over the pelvic brim on the lateral pelvic wall until it reaches the region of the ischial spine. It will extend anteriorly to reach the lateral angle of the bladder to enter the wall of the urinary bladder. What is the blood supply of the ureter? Is from three main sources. The first upper part is from renal artery. The second or middle part is from gonadal vessel, and the third lower part or pelvic part is from superior vesical artery. What is the nerve supply of the ureters? Also it is from three plexuses: the renal plexus, testicular or ovarian plexus, and the pelvic part and lower part راح يكون from the hypogastric plexus in the pelvis. And the afferent fiber that carry pain impulses, afferent fiber will enter the spinal cord in the first and second lumbar segments. To the referred pain from the ureteric pain will be felt in the first and second dermatome of the anterior abdominal wall skin. That is, the pain of the ureter will be felt from loin to groin, from the flank down to the inguinal region. This is the region of the referred pain from the ureter. Why? Due to the distribution that the afferent fiber that's coming from the ureter, it will enter the spinal cord in the first and second lumbar segment, and these are the dermatome of the first and second lumbar segments in the inguinal region and in the region of the scrotum. The last part of our lecture is about the suprarenal or the adrenal glands. The suprarenal or the adrenal glands are yellowish retroperitoneal organs. They lie on the upper poles of the kidneys, so we call it the suprarenal gland. They are surrounded by renal fascia and separated from the kidneys by the perirenal fat or the perinephric fat. Each gland has a yellow cortex and dark brown medulla in cross section. The adrenal gland, just like the kidneys, they are retroperitoneal, that is, it's covered only partially by peritoneum, tethering it to the posterior abdominal wall, that is, to the diaphragm. In cross section, the suprarenal gland, it have a yellow cortex and a dark brown medulla. The cortex secretes hormone that's called mineralocorticoids, that's concerned with the control of the fluid and electrolyte, glucocorticoids, that's concerned with the metabolism of the fat, carbohydrate, and protein, and sex hormone, small amount, that's concerned with the prepubertal growth of the sex organs. The medulla secrete hormone that is called catecholamine, which are epinephrine and norepinephrine, and that is adrenaline or noradrenaline. This is the right suprarenal gland, which is pyramidal shaped organ on the upper pole of the right kidney. It is situated behind the right lobe of the liver and extend to the left behind the inferior vena cava. It rests on the diaphragm, while the left suprarenal gland is crescentic in shape, extend from the upper pole of the left kidney to the medially to the hilum of the left kidney. It lies on the diaphragm, and anteriorly it is related to the pancreas, related to the lesser sac, and related to the stomach anteriorly. Adrenal gland have a rich blood supply. It have 3 arteries that from 3 sources of blood. We have the superior suprarenal artery, middle suprarenal artery, and the inferior suprarenal artery. Superior suprarenal artery is from the inferior phrenic artery. Middle suprarenal is a direct branch from the aorta, and the inferior suprarenal is a branch from the renal artery. These are the arteries that are supplying the suprarenal gland or the adrenal gland, so it have a very rich blood supply, but the venous drainage is from the single suprarenal vein that drain on the right side to the inferior vena cava, and on the left side it will drain into the left renal vein. Thank you.